Good evening. I'm Kiki Consuela with BNC News, and right now I'm here with former UN Ambassador Stacey Johnson. Good evening, Stacey.
Good evening.
How are you today?
Pretty wonderful. And yourself?
Good, thank you. Today we're going to be talking about the Iran involvement with the biological weapon attacks against the U.S. All right, first question: what reasons would Iran have to attack the U.S. with biological weapons?
Historically, the United States and Iran have never really gotten along due to ideological differences. And with our presence being such a strong one in the Middle East, we're just always a sore point with Iran. So what they could be doing is trying to push us out.
Should the U.S. consider going to war with Iran?
The United States should not consider it immediately because we don't have all the evidence. But if it was to be something that had an overwhelming amount of evidence, it should most definitely be something we considered.
You talk about evidence. What type of evidence would the U.S. have to have, and how would we get that?
The evidence would need to be whether it's just in Iran's military base or any kind of trace that's on U.S. soil. We would have to get that by not only the United States looking for it, but other countries as well that don't necessarily have an alliance specifically just to America or just to Iran. And this evidence needs to be purely factual and not circumstantial as in biased.
Okay. What would be the effects of going to war if we could prove it? What would be the effects of the war?
Well, the Middle East will be the most effective because that's where it would be most prominent. And the Middle East can easily be destabilized because of not only our presence already there, but if we were to have a full military presence in that area, the countries would be affected not only by being invaded and just being pulled into the war.
So you're talking about other countries aside from Iran. With this war, could we possibly gain allies within the Middle East?
It's a small possibility because not every country in the Middle East has said they're either pro-Iran or pro-America, but the possibility is small because they will have to deal with the Middle East area with their neighbors possibly being on the other side.
How would the war with Iran affect our relations with other nations in the Middle East besides being pro-American or pro-Iran?
Well, with countries like Israel that are already pro-American, it would strengthen the relationship because Israel has been trying to get us to do some kind of military action against Iran for years now. And if we were to take that initiative and go to war, Israel would be strengthened. And countries that had any kind of trade with us, if we went against their decision to go to war, then that trade would economically hurt us.
Okay, so not only in the Middle East does war affect, would the war affect, it would affect us, it would affect the Middle East, but what other areas within the world do you think that could be affected by this war?
Well, the war, we'd have to look at not only our strong allies, but Iran as well, because Iran has a very strong relationship with Syria, with Russia, and even
China. We've already experienced those types of negative relationships.
Yes, and it would just make it harder for us to have any diplomatic relationship with them, even though our relationship is already a negative one.
Right, so not only a divide within the Middle East, but a divide within the entire world.
Exactly.
All right, well, thank you so much, Stacey Johnson. That's all we have this evening. I'm Kiki Consuela with BNC News.